These days it seems like every guy online wants to call himself a Sigma male. It's become a label that gets thrown around almost like a trend. But here's the truth. Most of them don't live it. They talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. Because being a real Sigma isn't about saying it, it's about living it in silence. A real Sigma male doesn't need to tell you who he is. He's not posting quotes every day. He's not constantly reminding people he's different. You'll know by how he moves, how he thinks, and how he chooses to live. It's not loud. It's not about attention. It's about control, depth, and independence. On the other side, you have the wannabes. These are the guys who copy what they think a Sigma should look like. They try to act mysterious. They avoid people just to seem cool. They repeat words they've heard in a video but have never applied in real life. The result? They might look the part for a few seconds, but it falls apart quickly. The difference between a real Sigma and a fake one isn't always loud or obvious. It shows up in subtle ways. In the way they handle pressure, in how they treat people when nobody's watching, in whether their words match their actions. That's what this video is about. Not the surface traits, but the real signs that separate the authentic from the act. Why does this matter? Because the Sigma mindset isn't just a trend. It's a lifestyle. It's built on independence, observation, emotional control, and self-respect. It's not something you become because you saw it in a post. It's something you grow into by living with purpose and silence, not for show, but for survival. If you want to know the real difference between Sigma males and the ones pretending to be, you have to look beneath the surface. You have to study the behavior, not the words. You have to pay attention to the details, the quiet ones. Because real Sigmas don't care about being seen. They care about being true. Let's break down 6 subtle but powerful traits that expose the difference between a man who lives the Sigma life and one who's just playing a role. Reason number 1. They lead through action, not words. A real Sigma male doesn't need to explain himself. He doesn't have to talk about his goals every day. He doesn't make speeches about how strong or different he is. He shows it, quietly, clearly, without asking for attention. This is where you see the first big difference. The wannabe Sigma will go out of his way to remind everyone how Sigma he is. He'll wear the image like a costume. Maybe he'll post moody pictures. Maybe he'll talk about being above the system. But when it's time to act, to work, to focus, to lead, he doesn't follow through. Real Sigmas are about results. You won't hear them bragging about what they plan to do. They just do it. Whether it's in business, personal development, or relationships, they stay quiet and consistent. And when something gets done, it's solid. It's not for show, it's real. This kind of leadership doesn't require followers. It doesn't need approval. It's not about inspiring a crowd. It's about taking full control of your own path. That's what real Sigma males do. They're not out here trying to start movements. They're moving in silence, with purpose, because they know what matters to them. When a fake Sigma is around others, he tries to impress. He uses buzzwords. He talks about being independent, about rejecting authority. But the moment he's challenged or ignored, he reacts emotionally. He craves recognition for the image he's building, not for the discipline it takes to live it. Real Sigma males don't need recognition. They already know what they're doing, and they're doing it for themselves. They don't need you to clap. They don't need you to notice. They're not performing. They're executing. That's why their actions have weight, because they come from discipline, not from ego. You'll find them taking care of their responsibilities without needing praise. You'll see them helping others without posting about it. You'll hear about their wins only after they've happened. And even then they don't brag, they move on. Always focused on the next step, not stuck in self-celebration. That's the difference. Real Sigma males are reliable. You don't have to guess if they'll come through. You don't have to wonder if their mindset is real. Their consistency shows it. They've built habits that speak for them. And over time, people learn to respect that silence more than any loud display. Wannabes talk. Real Sigmas act. And in the long run, action always wins. Reason number 2, they value privacy, not popularity. One of the biggest differences between real Sigma males and the ones pretending is how they treat their personal life. Real Sigmas protect it. They don't share everything they do. They don't feel the need to be seen, noticed, or talked about. Their peace means more than their popularity. The wannabe Sigma does the opposite. He wants people to think he's mysterious. He posts just enough to keep people curious. He talks about being low-key, but he still wants the reaction. He wants people asking questions. That's not privacy. That's attention in disguise. Real Sigma males don't care about that. They don't build fake mystery. They simply move in silence. If something good happens in their life, they may not tell anyone. If they're dating someone, you probably won't know. If they're working on something big, they'll keep it to themselves until it's finished, or maybe forever. That doesn't mean they're hiding. It means they're focused. They know that peace is fragile, and when too many people know your moves, you open yourself up to noise, drama, and fake interest. So they limit what they share, not to be cool, but to stay in control. And here's where it shows. The real Sigma feels more powerful the less people know about him. He knows what's going on in his world, and that's enough. The wannabe, on the other hand, constantly wonders what people are thinking. He wants to be seen as mysterious, not actually be private. You'll also see this difference in how they handle social media. Real Sigmas might use it or not, but if they do, they're not addicted to it. They don't care about likes or followers. They post if there's something real to say. If not, they stay quiet. They're not trying to impress strangers. The wannabe needs the feedback. He posts content that looks deep but feels empty. Quotes, filters, half-truths about solitude and self-respect. But behind the scenes, he checks for every like, every comment. He's not private. He's performing a version of privacy. Privacy isn't just about what you hide. It's about what you value. Real Sigma males value time, peace, and space to think. They don't want everyone involved in their business, and because of that, they're harder to reach. Not because they think they're better, but because they're busy building something real. The fake version wants people watching, even when he says he doesn't. That's the difference. One is grounded. The other is chasing image. Reason number 3. They consistently ignore hierarchy. There's a big difference between rejecting the system and obsessing over it. Real Sigma males ignore the social ladder. They're not interested in being at the top, and they're not worried about being at the bottom. They live outside that whole structure. But the wannabe Sigma male can't stop talking about it. You've probably seen the difference yourself. The fake Sigma is constantly posting about alphas and betas. He's always explaining why he's better than other men. He uses charts, ranks, and categories to try and prove he's on top. That's not Sigma behavior. That's obsession with hierarchy, just from a different angle. Real Sigma males don't waste time comparing themselves. They're not part of any pack. They don't want to lead a group, and they don't want to follow one. They move independently, not because it's trendy, but because that's where they function best. They don't care who's the boss in the room. They don't try to outshine others. And they definitely don't feel the need to compete for dominance. That doesn't mean they're passive. It means they know where they stand, and they don't need to prove it. This mindset shows up in everyday life. In the workplace, they focus on doing the job well, not on kissing up to management. In social settings, they're comfortable in silence. They're not trying to get attention. They don't care who's the loudest. They'd rather observe and leave when it suits them. Meanwhile, the wannabe Sigma will often act like he's above everyone else, but still tries hard to be noticed. He'll criticize authority, but secretly wants approval. He'll say he doesn't care about ranking, but keeps talking about where he stands. That's not detachment. That's insecurity. Real Sigmas don't define themselves by their place in a system. They build their own. If a workplace doesn't fit, they leave. If a group feels off, they walk away. If a label doesn't make sense, they stop using it. Their identity isn't tied to status, it's tied to values. And because of this, people are often confused by them. They don't play the usual games. They don't chase status, but they still command respect. Not because they ask for it, but because they carry themselves in a way that makes people notice. The fake version might look confident at first, but it fades quickly. When he's not getting the attention he wants, he becomes frustrated. That's how you know it's about recognition, not independence. A real Sigma doesn't just say he's outside the system, he lives like it. And that separation is quiet, but clear. Reason number 4, they listen more than they speak. Real Sigma males are known for being quiet, but there's more to it than silence. It's not just that they speak less, it's that they listen better. They're observers. They take in more than they give out. And in a world full of noise, that kind of listening stands out. The wannabe Sigma may act quiet, but the silence is forced. It's a performance. He's trying to look mysterious. He wants people to ask him questions. And when he does speak, it's usually to steer the attention back to himself. A real Sigma isn't waiting to speak. He's processing. He watches body language. He notices tone. He catches the small shifts that most people miss. And when he does speak, it's with intention. He doesn't say much, but what he says matters. This listening ability gives him power. While others talk over each other, he's collecting information. While people rush to be heard, he waits. He understands that silence reveals more than noise. That's how he learns people. That's how he avoids traps. That's how he moves smart, not fast. In relationships, this trait changes everything. A Sigma male isn't loud with affection, but he's aware. He remembers things. He shows that he cares through action. He doesn't say, "I hear you." He proves it through the way he moves later. Wannabes, on the other hand, often try to fake interest. They nod. They agree. They repeat back what you say. But it doesn't land because it's not real. It's surface level. There's no real weight behind their attention. They're just filling time until they can talk again. Real listening takes patience. It takes humility. You have to put your ego down long enough to understand what someone else is really saying. Sigma males do that naturally. They're not in a rush to be right. They're looking for truth, even if it means changing their own view. This shows up in group conversations too. While everyone fights to speak, the Sigma often says nothing. Then, after hearing everything, he offers a single comment that shifts the whole conversation. That's the kind of impact that comes from deep listening. And it's not just people he listens to. He pays attention to environments, to shifts in mood, to energy. He's tuned in, not spaced out. That's what makes his silence powerful. It's not empty, it's full of awareness. The fake Sigma may sound wise in short bursts, but it fades fast. Real wisdom comes from real listening. And in that space, the real Sigma stands alone. Reason number 5. They maintain substance over flash. You can always tell the difference between someone who's real and someone who's just performing. Real Sigma males don't need flash. They don't dress to impress. They don't show off money, status, or luxury. Their value comes from who they are, not what they show. Wannabe Sigmas lean heavily on surface. They wear clothes they think make them look powerful. They flex on social media. They talk about success before they've built anything. It's all about how they're seen, not about what they're actually doing. The real Sigma is different. He could have money, success, status, but you might never know it. He doesn't need to prove it. He doesn't measure himself by public reaction. His life is built on purpose and values, not image. This shows up in small ways. His home might be simple but functional. His clothing might be plain but clean. He invests in what works, not what gets attention. Everything he owns has a reason. No clutter, no overstatement, just clarity. Substance means showing up the same way, no matter who's watching. It means your principles don't change in different rooms. Sigma males carry themselves with consistency. Whether they're talking to a stranger or a close friend, they're the same person. Wannabes change with the audience. They say what they think people want to hear. They adjust their style to match what's trending. That's not strength, that's shape-shifting. And while it might fool some people for a while, it doesn't last. People respect consistency. They trust it. And Sigma males understand this. That's why they build character before they build appearance. They know who they are before they step out in the world. And they don't need applause for it. This doesn't mean they reject success. Many Sigma males are successful. They just don't advertise it. They don't need people to know. They measure success privately. They reward themselves in ways that matter to them, not ways that look good online. Over time, people start to notice. They realize the Sigma isn't chasing status, but somehow he still has it. He's not showing off, but he's still solid. That's what happens when you build substance. People see it even when you're not trying to show it. In a world full of flash, the real ones last. And Sigma males know this. That's why they move quietly, but with purpose. That's why they don't follow. They lead themselves. Reason number 6. They practice adaptable independence. Real Sigma males are independent but not stubborn. They don't need others to lead them, but they also don't resist change just to feel powerful. Their independence is solid, and it adapts to reality. That's what separates them from the wannabes who act independent but fold under pressure. Let's be clear. Being independent doesn't mean doing everything alone, no matter what. It means having the ability to function alone when needed, and the wisdom to adjust when the situation calls for it. Real Sigma males understand this. Wannabes don't. The fake Sigma version will tell you he doesn't need anyone. He avoids help, avoids feedback, and avoids connection. He sees dependence of any kind as weakness. But what he's really doing is protecting his ego. He's not truly strong. He's scared of looking weak. A real Sigma doesn't think that way. He knows when to listen. He knows when to adapt. He'll walk alone, but he'll also work with others if it aligns with his values. He doesn't care if people think he's less Sigma for it, because he's not playing for image. He's focused on results. That's the core of adaptable independence. It's not rigid. It's not about being untouchable. It's about being centered enough to shift when needed without losing who you are. That's what a real Sigma does. He can learn, grow, and adjust, but the foundation stays the same. You'll see this in everyday life. The real Sigma may start out working solo, then join a team when it makes sense. He might avoid relationships, then open up when the right person comes along. He stays true to himself, but he doesn't get stuck in one idea of who he's supposed to be. The fake version often gets trapped in the lone wolf image. He avoids people even when he needs support. He won't adjust plans even when it's clear they're not working. He talks about being unshakable, but cracks when real life pushes back. That's not strength. That's fear dressed up as control. Adaptable independence is quiet power. It doesn't scream. It doesn't brag. It adjusts, then moves forward. That's why Sigma males often thrive long-term. They don't need the world to bend for them. They bend without breaking, then keep going. This kind of mindset takes maturity. It's not built from pride, it's built from self-trust. Sigma males trust themselves to handle change. They trust themselves to know when to stand firm and when to shift. That's what makes them different from the ones just pretending. In the end, anyone can say they're independent, but only a real Sigma male shows it in the way he moves, solid, quiet, and flexible when it counts. Now you've seen the difference. Real Sigma males don't talk about being Sigma, they live it. Their traits are subtle but powerful. They lead with action, not words. They protect their privacy. They ignore social ranking. They listen with full focus. They carry substance over style. And they move with a kind of independence that bends but never breaks. The wannabes try to copy the look. But without discipline, without patience, and without quiet confidence, it doesn't last. Real Sigma males don't need to be seen. They just need to be real. So if you're wondering where you stand, look at how you act when no one's watching. Look at how you handle pressure. Look at how you treat silence, solitude, and purpose. It's not about being perfect. It's about being honest with yourself. The Sigma mindset isn't a costume. It's a code. Let us know. Which of these 6 traits do you relate to? And which ones do you still need to work on? Because in the end, it's not what you say that defines you. It's what you live.